Hi everyone, and thank you so much for purchasing a Bold Brim from us. We are super excited to be bringing you this amazing one-of-a-kind product. We want to ensure that the Bold Brim application is as smooth as possible, so we've developed a tutorial for you guys here today. First off, make sure you have a lighter and scissors on hand, and as well your hat needs to be clean and fairly symmetrical. Anything that isn't symmetrical will be difficult, if not impossible, to apply a Bold Brim to. This is my son's well-loved and well-used hat, and as you can see, it would be a very difficult hat to apply Bold Brim to. So just keep that in mind, and yeah. And currently the Bold Brims work best on straw hats. It will stick to felt as well as palm leaf hats, but you may not get the same results. So just keep that in mind, and we will get on to step one. Okay, step one. Lay your Bold Brim on your hats prior to taking off the backing, and just ensure that there's ample coverage. As you can see on this hat, there's lots of extra overhang, which is great because we're going to cut it off after. You can also check this is going to line up with the back of your hat, this seam, and the front of your hat, there's another seam. So you just want to make sure that they're fairly close when you're checking your fit. And Bold Brims will fit a hat roughly 16 inches wide by 17 inches long, so it's always a good idea to measure your hat ahead of time before you order online. Step two. Turn your Bold Brim over and peel the backing on one side to the crease that's already there. So this crease, if everyone can see right here, we want to peel the backing just on one side to that. We're going to use that to tack it onto our hat. So we're going to do the same thing we did in step one, where we lay it back on our hat again and ensure that we get full coverage. And you can use your sweatband seam to line up with the seam on the back of the Bold Brim. So just lay it down, check, tack, and check your fit and location again of your Bold Brim. So as you can see, that's pretty close to right where I want it. And once you feel like you have it tacked on where you would like it to be, you can move on to step three. Step three. We carefully remove the remainder of the backing on the side that you're working on from the Bold Brim, being very careful not to let the Bold Brim stick to itself or stick to anything else. So you can just gently peel it off. And once you've gotten it peeled off, you're going to carefully line it up with the front of the hat and tack it on. So also again, you're going to take and ensure that the fit is the same or similar. And being careful not to let the Bold Brim flop down, because that's part of making sure it'll fit your brim shape by leaving this the last step to applying. So then now we're just going to start at the crown, which is the inside, right along the inside of your edge of your hat, and work your way from front to back or back to front. And as you can see, I'm finding that it's not quite lined up. You can lift and re-tap multiple times to lay it down. So now you can see I have a little bit more of an even edge to it here, and I'm just going to work my way from the inside out. So this is step four. Now you're going to keep this up and work your way from the inside out, front to back. Okay, if you find that any wrinkles form, you can smooth them out going towards the outside. And as you can see, it doesn't take very long. And you have your first side on. Step five is going to be the same as step four. So just remove your backing from the opposite side. Just like this. Peel it off. Ensure that nothing gets stuck to itself. And carefully apply it to this side. Same thing again, run your finger along the edge of the crown, keep the outside edge of your Bold Brim up, and work from the inside out, feeling for wrinkles as you go. there you have it. That's step 5. Step 6. Okay, so we highly recommend that you cut off the inside sweatband tabs. And the reason being is the adhesive is highly bonding and can peel back some of the finish on the sweatband. It doesn't necessarily affect the usability of the sweatband, but if you don't want the finish being peeled off, definitely trim them off. So we will demonstrate how to do that today. If you choose to fold the tabs in, it may be necessary, depending on your head size and how it's placed on your hat, to trim, and I will also demonstrate that. Some of these tabs may not be trimmed back far enough. So as you go to fold them over, like so, you might find that you need to take the scissors and just trim back on each of these cuts a little bit to ensure that they fit properly. Okay, so we're going to take the tabs off today, and we will demonstrate how. I like to mark them with my fingernail using the edge of your sweatband that sticks up, just to have an idea of where I need to cut. I always cut them a little bit longer because most hats you can actually pull back your sweatband like this and stick it underneath. So we want to kind of hide the edge. So we're going to just trim it. I'll show you on this first one here. We're going to trim it a little bit longer along the inside of your sweatband, just like that. Everybody can see. And then I'm going to stick it in there. So I'm going to pull the sweatband away just a little bit to expose the inside. And as you can see, it's been tucked underneath. So I will show you another one. So you're going to take your fingernail and run it along the inside of your crown, along the inside of your sweatband. Take your scissors, trim it off. And it doesn't matter if you can't get a perfect edge because you're going to hide it anyways. So then you're going to peel it back again and tuck it in. Just like that. Okay, so step 6 is now been complete. This is what the inside of your hat should look like if you choose to cut off the tabs. If you choose not to cut off the tabs, it will look like this. We don't recommend this, but you have that option as well. Okay, so now we're moving to step 7, and step 7 is we are just going to trim off the excess overhang. So you're going to just take your hat and put it on your hand, your pair of scissors, and start trimming right along the edge of your brim. So as you can see, I'm just going to work my way around and trim off any excess overhang. If you can't get a perfect line, that's fine, as you're going to add the trim on after you're done. Okay, so after you've done step 7, your hat will look like this. You've trimmed off any of the excess overhang, and we're on to step 8. So that is your trim finish that's included with your bolt brim. So remove your elastics, and we're just going to pull it out, and you can see that there's been a crease made that's going to be used as a guide to put it on. So we're going to just give it a little stretch here, and then pick an end, and we are going to start at the back of your hat. So I'm just going to get the backing off, just like this. So about 6 inches at a time you want to work with. We definitely don't want to peel the backing off the whole piece because that would be messy. So going whichever direction you like, start at the back of your hat, line up with your sweatband seam again, take your trim finish using your crease that you have in your trim, and we are going to line it up as close as possible with the sweatband seam. If you find your sweatband seam is off center, then pick a closer spot to center. So we're going to apply it on just like this for about 6 to 8 inches using that crease and lining it up with the very edge of your brim. Okay, and so then once you get about 8 inches on there, 6 to 8 inches, take your finger and pinch it on. If you find that you need to adjust or reapply, you can peel it back several times before it loses its adhesive abilities. And then we just make our way. So get it on there. Okay. We're going to just pinch it on and make our way around the hat. So I have been working on step 8, as you can see, and so I've gotten the hat almost halfway done here. And so I wanted to just show you guys as well how to do these corners for step 8. If you find that there's some bubbles and anything like that, you can just rub it a few times and they usually will work their way out. So as you get to this edge here, you're just going to line it up like you did previously, and I always give it a little bit of a pull and make it a little bit tighter going around that corner. So as you can see, I haven't squeezed it on there yet. And so now I'm going to check it and make sure I'm happy with the location, and then just lay it on. Even at this point, if you push it on and you find that it's not where you want it to be, you can gently peel it off and do it again. And I feel something right here, so I'm going to flip it over. And yeah, I see it's puckered a little bit, so I can lift it and work it out of there and lay it back down. So you have multiple times that it'll do that for you before it isn't sticky anymore. So don't be too concerned if you have to try a few times before you get it right. I find the trim takes the most time, just because if you want it even and looking nice, you just have to spend a little bit more time with it. So I'm going to continue on with this step, and I will show you what it looks like when we're done. So as you can see, I have gotten the trim on Bold Brim and your hat, and everything's looking good. You can smooth it with your finger if you get any bubbles or creases. If you get super frustrated or are just having struggles, you can definitely email us if you have any questions. We don't recommend it, but the trim finish is optional. Just make sure when you cut your Bold Brim and trim it to do a really good job if you don't want to use the trim, but we recommend that you use it. So now we're at the final stage of step 8. And so you've gotten back to where we started. I like to overlap just to give myself the security knowing it's going to stick really good. So overlap your trim onto where you started. Take your scissors and trim off the excess and try and get as straight of a line as possible, as you can see. And then you're going to take your lighter, so just make sure that it's lifted up. Don't have kids do this at home, and you're going to just heat it for a second, and that's just going to help prevent any fraying. And then you're going to just finish by laying it on top of where you started. And that is finished. So if you guys have any questions, please email us at bewildchild@gmail.com. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you love your Bold Brim as much as I loved designing them. And stay tuned for more fun stuff to come.